Most buyers lose their dream home before they ever step inside, not because of bad photos, but because of what photos can't show. If you've ever fallen for a home online and then felt completely different once you saw it in person, you're so not alone. I've watched it happen hundreds of times. A home looks perfect on a phone, but in person, something just feels off. And the opposite, too. A listing that looks average online suddenly feels right the moment you walk through the door. The difference isn't the house, it's everything the photos couldn't show. Most people think the risk is bad listings or misleading photos. It's not. The real risk is trusting photos to answer questions that were never meant to be answered by photos. That's when buyers fall in love too early, or when they scroll past homes that really could have been a great fit. And neither one leads to confident decisions. The goal isn't to find a perfect house, it's to understand what you're actually buying before you commit. Because online listings are where interest starts, but clarity, that only happens once you know how to read beyond the photos. Here's the thing most people don't realize: listing photos were never designed to tell the whole story. They're more like a movie trailer. A trailer shows you the best scenes, the perfect lighting, the most exciting moments. But no one watches a trailer expecting to understand the full movie, the pacing, the tone, or how it actually feels to sit through the whole thing. And yet, that's exactly what most buyers expect photos to do. Photos are trailers. They spark interest, they show highlights, they're not the full story. You can't really know the movie until you walk through the door. Photos are great at showing space. They show size, layout, clean lines, all the visual stuff, but they can't show how a home actually lives. I toured two homes recently that looked almost identical online. Same layout, same square footage, same finishes. But in person, one felt open and calm, and the other one felt tight and disconnected. That's the kind of vibe that photos can't capture. They can't show how the air moves through a home. They can't show how rooms connect or how the space flows when you're actually moving through it. Two homes can look the same online and live completely differently once you're inside. If there's one thing that creates the biggest gap between photos and reality, it's light. Photos make light look consistent and predictable. In real life, it's anything but that. Wide angle lenses exaggerate brightness. Photos are taken at the best time of day. Artificial light fills in shadows and smooths out harsh spots. So, what you're actually seeing online is a moment, not the full experience. Here in South Florida, the moment can be misleading. A west facing backyard might look dreamy online until you're standing there at 4 p.m. wondering where all that shade went. Light changes how a home feels hour by hour. It affects temperature, it affects mood, and it definitely affects energy. That's why some homes that look flat online feel absolutely incredible once you walk in. Remember, photos show the trailer. You have to see the movie to understand the light. There's one factor that affects daily life more than buyers expect, and it's completely invisible online, and that's noise. Photos may not always tell you if a home backs up to a busy road. They won't tell you what the neighborhood sounds like on a Sunday morning. They won't tell you how school traffic stacks up at 8 a.m. Noise doesn't automatically kill a deal, but misunderstanding it often does. So when you tour a home, you need to step outside, pause, listen, not with emotion, but with intention. Because once you understand the sound environment early, it becomes something you can decide around instead of a surprise that creates doubt later. Walkability seems like a simple thing online. There's a number score, a quick summary that says yes or no. But real walkability isn't a stat, it's a lived experience. And in South Florida, shade and sidewalks matter more than distance. A home might technically be close to shops or parks, but if sidewalks disappear halfway down the street, or if there's no tree cover, that walk can feel really exhausting fast. What looks easy online can feel completely different in real life. Walkability requires context. It's not about whether you can walk somewhere, it's about whether you'll actually want to, especially in August. Every neighborhood has a rhythm, and it's something you feel more than you see. You pull onto one street and it's alive. kids biking, neighbors chatting, people walking. Then 2 streets over, the same builder, same price point, but it's quiet and it's still and it's disconnected. Neither one is better, they're just different. And that difference matters because it's about alignment with what you're looking for, not perfection. You don't really understand a neighborhood until you experience its energy. And that's something photos can't deliver, no matter how beautiful they are, because photos can show the houses, but only being there shows the whole story. Here's another thing that photos can never tell you: traffic. Most showings happen mid morning or early afternoon when everything feels calm and quiet. But daily life doesn't happen during those hours. That same street that felt peaceful at noon might turn into a parking lot at 7:45 a.m. when school starts. Traffic isn't a deal breaker, but not understanding it can be. When you see traffic patterns early, you can decide if the trade off fits your life, or you can move confidently on without second guessing your decision. Buyers often notice things in photos: an older roof, a nearby road, a bit of water pooling, and they can instantly label that as a red flag. Without context, those things can feel alarming. With context on site, they're just information. The mistake isn't noticing them. The mistake is reacting before you understand what they actually mean. This isn't about avoiding imperfections. It's about exploring and asking better questions. When you understand what's manageable, what's negotiable, and what's simply part of living in a certain area, decisions can get calmer. And calm decisions are almost always better decisions. Remember, you can't make confident decisions from behind a screen, and you don't need to. Real commitment doesn't happen online. It happens when you stand inside the home, when you feel the air move, when you hear the street, when you see the light shift across the room. That's when everything you saw online finally clicks into place, or sometimes it doesn't. In person, buyers stop reacting emotionally to photos and start making grounded, confident decisions. Online listings create interest, but in person, that experience creates clarity. Because in person, you're finally watching the full movie, not just the trailer. Before or after a showing, here's a simple checklist I want you to use to help you move from emotion into clarity. You need to visit the home at more than one time of the day. You need to step outside and listen on purpose. Walk the block, not just the driveway. Notice how the sunlight hits the main living spaces. Pay attention to traffic outside school areas and observe how neighbors actually use the street. None of these steps are dramatic, but together they're going to give you something that photos never can: clarity. And clarity doesn't scare good buyers away. It helps you move forward or walk away without regret. The best buyers don't avoid imperfections, they understand them early. Social media shows what's possible. In person is going to show you what's real. Because when you learn to read beyond the photos, you stop reacting to highlight reels and you start seeing homes clearly. You're not looking for perfection, you're looking for clarity. And clarity turns listings into confident decisions. If you have any questions about the buying process, please drop them down below. And if you like this video, check out my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.